Hi, Tigger.
Yes, over here.
Now we are entering into the bighorn sheep. Now these bighorn sheep have 2 bouncing babies in here as well. Those babies are roughly, about 6 months old now. So there's 3 big females in here, 1 big male. This is Harry's little entourage here. This is his little, his harem. And here's the one with the full curl going on his horns. When you see him, he's unmistakable. You'll well know who I'm talking about. The big Harry is in here. He's the proud talker. Now the babies, when the babies are born, they're born right down there in that little valley right there. Within hours, the babies are strong enough to climb up into those rocks. Don't see them. They must be hiding back behind the sticks or something. I bet they're up there behind the rocks. That's probably where it's warmer. Get some of that radiation off of the rocks back there. But anyway, there are 3 big females in here, and you will notice that the females grow the horns as well as the males. Those horns stay on them throughout their natural life. They do not shed those horns like the deer or elk shed their antlers. Those stay on them throughout their entire lives. When you see Harry, he's sporting about 30 pounds of weight on his head with those horns that he's got. Now those horns are made of keratin, and keratin is the same thing as your hair. Your fingernails are made of. And when they need to trim them down, they can just trim them down on a rock, or a tree, or a car, or a bus. Anything that's trim it down. Anybody see them? Because I bet they're behind those rocks. Were they right there? I'm just and I'm your leader. Yeah. Oh well. Yep, well that was our bighorn sheep. Now we are entering into the big bear. Now these big bears range in age from 7 years old. Remember the junior bears are from 3 to 7 years old. These bears range in age from 7 years old up. They can get to be as old as 10 to 14 years in the wild. But here in the park, they get to live up to about up to 24 years old here in the park because of the good, healthy feeding that we give them, and also the care of the veterinarians. Our animal staff here is a really, really good animal staff. We really do love these critters. So we take very, very good care of them, and we've got our veterinarians on staff full time. So we do feed them very good, very, very clean diets. And that's why we don't stop feeding the bears, because they have to maintain a certain weight or a certain health standard for our license and that sort of thing. So that's why we don't feed all these critters like you might think we could. We don't do that. Now black bears are very territorial. They're extremely shy in the wild. They're solitary. You would not see them hanging around each other like you see them hanging around here in the park. That's a unique phenomenon. To be seen probably only here in the park. Only reason you'd ever see a couple of bears together out in the wild is if they were siblings, brothers and sisters, that sort of thing, family. They're omnivores. They eat 80% fruits and vegetables, only 20% meat. So they eat very little meat. Over here to your right, that's a fence line, or that's a chain link fence. That's a separation between junior bear and adult bear. The junior bears live on the far side. The adult bears are over here. That one laying back there in the corner, that's Big Paula. Paula's another 18-year-old bear. She's roughly the same age as Big Arthur. They are not related to one another, but they are the eldest bears here in the park. Now we have a total of 16 bears here in adult bear. Remember there was 19 in the junior bears. There's 16 bears in here, 10 of which are rescue bears. They're all rescues from all over the country. We've got them from Arizona, Colorado, California, Oklahoma, Montana. We've even got some from Pennsylvania. One of our big old critters over there to your right. Don't forget to look at the trees. These bears love to climb trees. And when you see bones out there, that is not wayward children that didn't behave here in the park. Those are actually bones that were brought to us by animal, like game and fish. if an animal gets hit on the highway, if the meat is still good, game and fish will bring the meat to us and donate it to us, and we will carcass feed. You never have to worry about live feeding here in the park. Don't worry about having to see that. It's not pretty. So we carcass feed from time to time, though. But like I said, black bears don't eat but 10% of meat in their diet. Out in the wild, they eat nuts and berries and fruits and anything that they can find. Bugs, they eat lots of bugs. They eat bees, they'll eat a honeycomb. And they actually eat the bees. That was the bee's knees for me. I didn't realize it. I thought that they would swell up like we do, but nope, they just eat those bees just like they're little candies. Now over here to your left, you're going to see one of our rescue bears. This bear to your left is Tooth Bear. If he looks up, you can see his bottom lip kind of almost like he's pouting. Well, that's where that tooth was. He was in excruciating pain in the wild. Game and Fish spotted him, realized that he was in pain, they sedated him, brought him to us, and Dr. Oley pulled that tooth. By the time we got all the poison out of his system, we couldn't release him into the wild any longer because he becomes used to humans as a source of food. Once they do that, then they become a nuisance bear, and that is not good for these bears. Over here to your left, you are going to see what's called it's actually a kind of a staging area, if you will. It's a trailer. Sorry about those brakes. But it's back behind that shotcrete I was trying to describe to you a little bit earlier. If a bear comes over, like let's say Tooth Bear, another rescue bear comes in, or maybe a bear graduates from junior bear to adult bear, animal staff will stay in that little trailer and watch these bears, monitor the bears to make sure everybody's happy and healthy. Now this is where we finish the story about Big Arthur, that big 690-pound bear I was telling you about over in junior bear. They have an instinct about them. It's a fight or flight instinct. Well, Big Arthur didn't get the memo. He wouldn't fight the other bears for territory or a mate or food or whatever they might fight about. He wouldn't fight back, and he wouldn't flee from the other bear. So he kept getting beat up here in the park because he wouldn't run. So the animal staff had a decision to make. We had a very important decision to make because he's a very, very good bear as far as being a respectable bear. He doesn't climb on cars, doesn't cause any trouble at all, and animal staff just adores the guy because he just doesn't cause any trouble. He's a pleasure to have around. So they moved him over to junior bears. Now he is the babysitter or caretaker, if you will, of those junior bears. Teaches them to respect the bigger, older adult bears, keep their dens clean, everything that they need to learn to be a good, respectable adult bear. This little girl over here to your left, that's Sparky. She's another sweetheart. Everybody loves her because she just doesn't cause any trouble. She's got a great big head and a real tiny face, and when she smiles, she's got a cute little smile. She's a sweetheart. We love them all, but some of them are just a little bit more of a pleasure to work with because when they feed them, they react so well. They're just so, it's like they're grateful kind of thing. They're really, really cool bears. Over here to your left is one of their ponds. Bears love to swim. So we put that pond in for them so that they've got something to do in the summer. And when they get in there and play around in the water, they just frolic around like a bunch of kids. They have fun. Sometimes we'll throw a ball out there so that they can play with the ball in the water. They really are fun to watch. Notice that they have been fed. You can see lettuce and you can see orange peels. They peel their own oranges. They shuck their own corn. Their lettuce and their vegetables. They like eating all their veggies and goodies. They're really fun to watch eat apples. It takes them like 5 bites to eat a whole apple. There's Jack and Dave laying down over there. Yeah, twin bears. Yeah, Jack and Dave, brother and sister. And here's Bosa up here just to your left. I'm looking for bears and trees, and sadly I don't see any. I always love to see bears and trees. Because a lot of people don't believe that they can climb trees. Let me tell you, folks, they can climb trees faster than you walk across the earth. They're quick. They're really quick to climb the trees. So they're a pleasure to watch when they are climbing. Over here to your left, now I am going to show you how you're going to know that you are in bear country when you're in the wild. The bark on the trees closest to us to your left, those are natural bark. And then the ones that look like they're kind of red, kind of markings on it, those are farm marks, folks. That's where those bears have been found in those trees. That's what you're going to be looking for when you're out in the wild and you're looking for bear. When you're looking for them, the chances are that that's where you're going to see them, is up in the tree. 90% of the time, that's where they'll be. Every once in a while, however, you might sneak up on one. Maybe you're upwind from it. Like I said, they can smell us coming from 5 miles away, but maybe you were upwind and they couldn't smell you. Or you weren't making enough noise on your hike to alert them that you're here. If you spotted one, let's say across the road here, and it looked at you, it's probably going to be frightened. Well, undoubtedly will be frightened. And it's going to make a mock attempt to attack you. It's going to act like it's going to come at you. It'll duck its head down real low, chomp its jaws like that, and stomp its paws on the ground. A sign of aggression from the black bear. What it's trying to do is trick you into turning around and running. Folks, if you run, you're dead. Yep, that's simple. They can run at 30 to 40 miles an hour. The fastest human ever recorded was roughly 22 miles an hour, and that was a 50-yard dash. And that's roughly between here and the front gate there, right there. That's a very, very short distance. And that bear, if you can only run at 22 miles an hour and he can run at 40 miles an hour, you do the math, he's going to catch you. Now, when you are hiking in bear country, you don't even want to carry anything like chopstick in your pocket, because they can smell it. They can smell chopstick. Like I said, they've got 2,100 times better sense of smell than we've got. So, yeah, they are very, very sensitive. They can see 9 times better than a dog and hear 9 times better than a dog. So they have very keen senses. Oh, no, look, she's still got carrots and all kinds of things. Like I said, during the winter, their metabolism does slow down greatly. So they do get a little bit lazier in the winter. They kind of lay around, but they're being fed all year long. So that's why they don't hibernate. Now, the question is also asked a lot of times, do the bears, well, the hibernation thing is probably one of the biggest questions, but why do the bears hang around each other like they say? So because they don't do so in the wild, and it is again because they're being fed. Notice that they tore up these logs. They're actually looking for bugs in those logs. But this is one of our dens over here to your right. You will see bear droppings in front of the den. That's how a bear marks its territory. It's saying that this is my den, stay out. There's another example of a den right behind that big den there. Also, that pile of logs is another example of what a bear's den might look like in the wild. Again, what you're looking for primarily is bear food. When you see bear droppings, that's a good sign that that's a bear's den. If you see bear cubs in the wild, folks, I don't care how cute they are. They are extremely cute, fun to watch. Get the heck away from them because you are in danger. Mama is close behind you, and it's no different than your mama. Your mama will do anything she can to protect you too. This is Dana. How you doing, kids? You need a break? You're good? Okay. Yep, Dana's watching Bear Gate for us. All right, now I do have time to tell you a couple of jokes if you will bear with me. All right. Now the first joke. Why did God only make one Yogi Bear? The second one was a boo-boo. How about this one? Why don't bears like wearing shoes and socks? They prefer their bare feet. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What do you call a bear with no teeth? Somebody's got this one. Gummy bear. Where would a polar bear hide its cash? Where would they hide his money? Snowbank. Yeah. You can do the same for a fish too. Where would a fish hide its money? In the riverbank. Yeah. Yeah. What would a fish say if it swam into a piece of concrete? Damn. That wasn't told to me by a kid. That was one of my adults. Here's one that was told to me by an adult. What do you call an illegally parked frog? Toad. All right, they aren't all funny, but they're all in a row. Now, kids have told me all my jokes. Folks, I love to hear kids tell jokes. Kids, here's a piece of advice for you. If it looks like you're an adult that is a little bit frayed or a little bit tattered for the day, tell us a joke. You know, we love hearing you guys tell jokes. It makes us smile, and we do love to hear you guys tell jokes. You guys are the ones that we survive for as our kids. And we live for you guys, so you guys live for us and tell us jokes when we get down. Because sometimes it happens. It happens to kids too, and parents try to do the same for them. All right, I'm going to ask you a favor. If you will allow me to get off the bus first and put this little step down out here for anybody that needs help. And if you guys have not seen the bird show, go off to your left. It starts sharply at 3 o'clock. Go to your left, follow the first sidewalk around to your left, and you'll be able to see that bird show. Enjoy your day here at Bearizona, and please be very safe.